Kankakee Podcast is presented by Pewter Pros, Stitch Prints, and Digital World Design family of businesses, celebrating 25 years of small business ownership in Kankakee County. Learn more at mypewterpros.com, stitchprints.com, and digitalworlddesign.com.
Thankful for a wavy stories. Hold on to the lifetime we won't get back. I know these rivers carry people tend to stick to you after time. Places tend to do the same as we do. This river carries on and on.
Well, hello and welcome to Kankakee Podcast, where we talk about the people and places of Kankakee County. I'm Jake LaMore, and today we are recording on location in an old radio studio, none other, which I absolutely love. I've always wanted to go inside this building, and I finally have checked that off my Kankakee bucket list. So we're in the practice space of alternative rock band Carrying Torches in downtown Kankakee. Hey, guys.
Welcome.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you guys coming.
Thanks for inviting me into this historic building. So WKAN used to have their studios here. I don't know the exact years. Do you guys know the exact years? Yeah, I don't. But I don't. I'd have to look it up because I was kind of talking to.
There were some photos though that I remember seeing with some cars that looked like they were from the 50s.
Yeah, it dates back, and I can't remember because at one point they also had a studio on Court Street, not that far from where we're at here on Schuyler. They had a location there around the same era, and I don't know if this one was first or if that one was first or whatever. They've moved around quite a bit, but it's still just cool to be in this building. And it's cool that the building still kind of goes along with that whole arts music movement, because now a lot of bands and podcasters actually work out of here too.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool that the building kind of lives on in that vein.
It has definitely morphed over the years too. Since we've been here, there's always a good mix. Sometimes there's even tattoo artists in here.
Yeah, that's right, John. I think you were. John was talking.
Yeah, there's been a couple tattoo artists. Yeah.
We should. I'm so sorry. We should go around and introduce everyone so we know what you guys sound like. So you can go first, John.
I'm John Gray. I play the drums and do backup vocals.
Justin Daniel, play guitar and sing.
Misty of Kankakee, synthesizer, backup vocals.
All right. Well,
that's
welcome.
us.
Welcome, guys. Again. And we're missing two members?
Two. We have Taylor Smith, who plays lead guitar, and Mike Geissy, or Mike Bass, who plays the bass and sings.
So if you don't know Mike Bass, he has always had a mohawk. Ever since
I've known him,
I've known Mike Bass, he's always had a mohawk.
Yeah.
And when I saw him a couple weeks ago, he did not have a mohawk. And I was like, bro, this is the first time I've seen you without a mohawk. It was like a life-changing moment. It just blew my mind. I'm like, who is this guy? But
he was probably playing guitar instead of bass.
That was the other thing that blew, he's called Mike Bass because he plays bass. But in this other band full of Moxie that I was watching him play in, he was playing guitar.
Yeah, he plays guitar and sings.
Yeah, so I didn't know if I should call him Mike Bass. I'm like, so are you Mike Guitar? Are you?
Yeah, Full of Moxie is great too. If anyone is listening that would like to check out some other local bands, they're kind of on the rise, I would say. They do some a lot of cover stuff, but they also have some of their own songs as well.
They have originals too. Yeah.
They're a really good band.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have all known each other for a long time from various things. When I used to play in a band called The Projection, John played drums in a band called Pilgrims. Justin was the front man of like a metalcore band.
Yeah.
Discord.
Well, there's Discord. And then before that, it was the Anitra.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then wasn't there another one in there, or was it just those two?
I think that was pretty much it. The Anitra was like the high school days.
Yes,
So
and then Discord came
And then Discord
after.
was like mid-20s, and now I took like a few year break just cooking.
Well, I mean,
chef.
You just like the rest of us. Like, obviously, I've moved on.
Yeah.
As well, we've all moved on into other things
Yeah.
because you have to make money.
Yeah,
you have to make a living, right?
Yeah.
Art-
You can only have so many passion projects.
Yeah, art doesn't
spinning the
always.
plates in the air at
Yeah,
once.
exactly.
How many
Art
plates
doesn't
can you
always
spin?
pay the bills, right?
Yeah.
So, and then Misty, you have always Misty and John are together, a couple,
Mhm.
of course, and so you've always been around in the scene in that sense too. But I'm trying to remember, were you in any other bands?
Yes, I was. I was a synth player in an electronic rock band called Light Tribe. And we headlined Merchant Street and played a lot in probably like 2009, 2010 time.
Okay. Did Pilgrims and Light Tribe ever
yes,
play?
that's how I met John.
That's how I met Misty. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. I had no idea. I don't think I remember Light Tribe at all from
Mhm.
that time because I don't think we ever, I don't think
pass.
Projection and Light Tribe ever
I don't
played
think
shows
so.
together.
I don't think so.
So, I mean, I always just saw you with John
yeah.
because we played so many shows with Pilgrims back in the day
Yeah.
Mhm.
that, I mean, I can't even count.
What was
Yeah.
that?
Oh yeah. I am expert band girlfriend, photographer, merch girl, you name it.
All of the
all of
above.
those things, and I do that in this band too.
Yeah,
you know?
well,
band mom.
That's
But,
that's how it goes. Someone's
just
got to
how-
take care of.
I remember playing with Projection, Bishop McNamara a couple times. I can't remember what that outdoor festival.
Fall
We played that
Fest
too.
or Bishop
we played
or
it too.
Mac Fest.
MacFest.
Mac
And we
Fest.
played-
And Anitra
we
played
on a-
that
we played on a-
too.
like a trailer, like a
It was-
flatbed. I feel like
yeah.
we've talked about this
So,
in an interview before.
we did. Well,
We
see,
just
that's the
we
thing.
just get
Like
onto the same thing.
so I know, like I've interviewed you guys. I've interviewed Carrying Torches in so many different veins at this point. This is probably like our 6th interview
Yeah.
at least from. So I used to host another podcast called Pop Punk and Pizza.
Mhm.
So you guys were on that twice, and then you've been on WFAV
Couple
countless
Couple times.
Yeah, a few
Yeah.
times.
and then this is the first time you're on Kankakee
Yeah.
Podcast, so which it was long overdue. But yeah, so I mean, it's well, oh yeah, we right back to MacFest. Yeah, so I think I can't remember. I was talking to someone about this the other day. I think that was like 2007, 2008, because they did it for like 2 years, 2 or 3 years at that point in like the late 2000s. And yeah, I remember one of those years.
Yeah.
We literally, there was a semi
Yeah.
Semi-trailer.
trailer, like
Yeah.
an open semi trailer bed.
Yeah.
That was the stage.
Yeah.
And
like right off of Brookmont. Like that. It
yes,
was like right there.
right. It was right at
Yeah.
at Bishop McNamara Catholic
Right,
High
but
School.
just right. Yeah.
And it was so weird because, like, of course, it's so long, but it was so narrow.
Yeah.
It was everyone was just kind of like crunched on there, and
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think it was either the year before or the year after that we actually had a legitimate stage. It might have been the year before.
I remember we only played the 1 year,
Yeah,
and it was a blast. It was fun.
It
you
was
know?
fun.
Yeah.
yeah. It was a
Kinda-
good time.
Yeah.
But I feel like probably should go back a little bit into the start of Carrying Torches, just because I feel like there's probably a lot of people that are listening to this that never obviously listened to any of the interviews that we've done in any
Right.
other circles, or
yeah.
maybe because obviously like maybe they heard about you when you did an interview on WFAV, but those interviews on the radio station are usually very short,
Yeah.
not
They're
very
quick, yeah.
right, very
Yeah.
quick, not very long and open-ended, kind of like this. So I feel like we should kind of go to the beginning of
Let's delve into it.
Carrying Torches. Yeah. So this goes to, let's see if I can remember the year. Is it 2016 or 2015?
Ding, ding, ding. 2016.
Okay.
You were right the
2016.
first
Yeah,
time.
you're right. Good memory.
Well,
Go
if
ahead.
I may.
Yeah. Misty. has the
The
floor.
collaboration started when John actually was filling in for Discord and Merchant Street. They needed a fill-in drummer. Their drummer was having some personal issues at the time. So John was called up from the minors.
Yep.
And so Discord, to elaborate again, was Justin's band. And you were fronting that band.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And I remember because normally it's so easy for John to pick up everything. He does the DJ drum thing. He just is good at improv. And he was like practicing these songs and sweating and getting frustrated because the thing you'll find about Justin is he has his own, well, we call it Justin timing, but there's no other way to describe it. Like he's got these syncopations and he hears it this way. He's visionary. He sees big picture.
So what she's saying is your timing sucks.
It sucks.
Right?
Well, it doesn't. It's
trying
not.
to be nice, but it is goofy. It's off, and it probably, if it wasn't for these guys propelling the delusion forward, everyone else would just be like, "What is this guy doing?"
But anyway,
so John was having a hell of a time.
Yeah.
I was,
A heck of a time trying to.
coming to
he
the-
was, but it's
Yeah.
good for us to all broaden our horizons. But needless to say, the two of them had enough musical chemistry in those Discord days to want to create their own project.
Justin's, he plays guitar right-handed. He's also a drummer, and he drums left-handed, so I actually
cracked your
chalk it up to
code.
that.
He cracked your code.
Where-
I completely forgot you were a drummer.
I'm not.
You're not?
I
Yes.
used to play the drums
You-
as a
yeah.
kid,
Oh, okay.
and I used to beat on them.
But
I
so
played
that
it
was,
set up left-handed.
but that was your first instrument.
set-
he
set the drum kit up left-handed.
I was-
So you were a
but he
left-handed.
plays right-handed. the
Oh,
guitar.
okay.
Yeah,
But are you?
I'm left-handed.
You are a
I
lefty,
play the
but
guitar
you play
right-handed.
Oh yeah,
I taught
dude.
My grandpa
just-
was right-handed, and he taught me how to play, so he taught me how to
Oh,
right-handed
okay.
guitar.
See
And
I agree with John. That
Yeah.
explains it.
Yeah.
That really does.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
because I have, and I don't know, like I was always told anytime that when I was in the projection and we would go into the studio and record our songs, the engineer would usually compliment me on how well my rhythm was, like I was consistent. But see, like I was using my
Dominant hand.
dominant hand,
Yeah.
not my hand
Yeah.
that's not dominant.
Yeah.
So hand.
No one has ever told me how consistent my rhythm was.
But here's the
Ever.
thing: it probably has improved at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't.
Yeah, oh,
like,
yeah.
Well, and John plays to you still play to a click, right?
Yeah, I played a click track, yeah.
It's helped me a lot for sure.
Yeah.
Like as far as timing with playing with him over the years has gotten me more tight.
Whipped you into shape.
We've
Yeah,
all
with
we've all
the shape,
improved. Yeah,
yeah.
we work off each other.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Jake.
Yeah.
I did not realize you worked with Seth whatsoever, our producer for this song.
Yeah.
Small Talk.
We haven't even talked about the song yet.
How did you enjoy working with Seth?
Oh, Seth? I mean, Seth Henderson is amazing.
He's great, isn't he?
Yeah. So like, now that you're bringing up that, and so
Sorry.
no, you're good. So the Carrying Torches latest single, which we're gonna play here in just a little bit. It was recorded with Seth Henderson, who, if you're a fan of like pop
Midwest
punk,
emo.
pop punk,
Midwest emo,
Yeah.
indie,
Chicago-based pop punk bands, things like
yeah,
that.
even bands like State Champs, though.
Right.
Seth works with State Champs. Seth he did most of the Real Friends
Mhm.
Yeah.
records, all of the Knuckle Puck
Knuckle
records,
Puck,
I think. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw the records all over
Yeah,
his
'cause
walls.
I
It was
think-
so cool.
Because I think Knuckle Puck did all of their records there, but Real Friends did almost everything except for maybe one or two records. And then State Champs is a
State
big
Champs,
one.
yep.
He's done a lot of work with Derek from State Champs. There's Devil Wears Prada has recorded with Seth.
With Seth. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, well, okay. If you don't recognize those names, and you might remember this name from high school, Alistair.
Yeah.
Alistair. I remember them.
So when they were celebrating, I think it was 20 years as a band, they went in to record at ABG Studios with Seth, and they re-recorded like 20 of their songs to celebrate 20 years
Yeah,
as a
that's-
band.
That's
What was the big song? Somewhere down in Fullerton.
Somewhere down in Fullerton, yeah. The Drive-Through Records era,
Yeah,
early
yeah.
2000s, mid 2000s. So Seth he's just a ball of energy, and he's just so quick.
He's
Yeah.
quick. He's the quickest producer I've ever worked with.
He
He
just
is
like
literally always genius.
Always be genius. Yeah. In case you were wondering what ABG stands for, it stands for Always Be Genius.
Yeah.
Because, well, Seth and his brother, too. I don't know if his brother is still working out of the studio there. He has a twin brother.
Oh,
Maybe that wasn't Seth then.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't.
Maybe it wasn't.
They are pretty identical looking. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if he's still working out of ABG or not. But I only worked with Seth just the one time when the projection we put out our last EP, and that was we recorded with him in 2014, so almost 10 years ago. And yeah, I've just got nothing but great things to say. I was just trying to think of some examples from that time when I worked with him, but obviously you guys worked with him a lot more recently because Small Talk was recorded in just the last year.
The first weekend of November 2022 is when we went, and it was a very good experience for our band. We got an Airbnb and had fun, did the sleepover with the boys. They were laughing so hard. I felt like I was hanging out with the Jackass crew all weekend. Laugh so hard your belly hurts.
So yeah, working with Seth on Small Talk, which was, from the history of carrying torches that I've seen since you guys have started, has probably been quite a big difference recording with Seth versus some of the other people that you've recorded with, just because the way Seth records is just so different from the other. I can't think of the other producers. And
he's a producer.
Yeah.
We've mostly just done like tracking and mixing with people. We've had producers like in post help us with stuff and put things together in songs that were added after. But having a producer in the room as it was happening and the ideas that could flow that way were just so much more, this word's kind of played out, but magical. It could just be switch on a dime. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's do that vocal cue like this. Let's do this guitar thing that we weren't doing before, or let's work on your rhythm. Let's make it like, he's like, is there a reason why you're doing that? I'm like, no, I'm just doing that. He's like, okay, but why don't we stop that?
And that just makes you like, you're instantly just like sweating bullets. Like,
the funny thing is it was so low key, and working with someone of that caliber and it feeling that like chilled out, and even him asking you to do something that you're not comfortable with, it just like, I think our overall feeling was just, we're here to like focus and make this cool, and let's listen to whatever he says and don't have any resistance to it.
Now that you bring that up, now I can think of more of a direct example. So if you're a guitar player, there's a technique. It's like, what is it? Hammer off, right?
Hammer off.
Yeah. So like a hammer off. So being in a pop punk band or in a punk oriented band, you don't really do hammer offs too much, right?
Right. That's like an 80s rock thing, right?
It's like it's more like, I feel like hard rock, metal.
Okay, yeah.
Like those classic rock, maybe like they do like the whole hammer off techniques. Not usually in
classic rock is like Nirvana now. So
that's true. I should probably watch.
Be very clear on
probably watch what I. Yeah, that's true. But anyway, so
sorry.
So since like I was writing in the punk-esque style, I'm not doing hammer-offs. I never learned how to do hammer-offs. Right. And we had this heavier song that we were recording, and he's like, it would sound so much better if you would just do this hammer-off. And I'm like, I've never done that in my life.
Pull off the string.
Yeah, so he's like, okay, so let's go over this, because it was more like a hard rock. This particular riff was in more of a harder vein than any of like the previous more punk sounding stuff that we did. So just the way I needed to bounce from note to note. That's why he was like, you need to do this hammer off technique, because otherwise you're not going to be able to move fast enough and between all and make it sound natural, and you get all those
clunky or
whatever. And you're going to get all those notes that you're not supposed to play in between.
It sounds okay like when you're at home on your acoustic, but when you put it into a studio, it's like you can't do that anymore.
He and our other guitarist in the band at the time went over that. So taking Small Talk into the studio with Seth and him listening to it, what were the things? What's the difference between what we're hearing
and the way that it sounded before?
And the way that it sounded
before? What I think is sometimes when it is actually your band, you are like too close to the elephant. Like you can't really see what it is. And it's just such a benefit if you can get those extra eyes and ears on it. They can extract what's the best out of it and then hear like the ghost of an idea maybe that you didn't hear. Because like being in a band is really hard. Like you have to act like you're famous before you are. You have to do everything, including writing the songs. So anywhere you can get a little massage from someone else and someone who's putting their mind power and talents into your music, and then you end up with just like this fine product at the end. It's like the best feeling in the world, one of them.
And the thing with Seth too, there was my favorite moment of the whole weekend. It was like a Johnny Cash type moment, which when Justin was in the vocal booth, I was sitting next to Seth. He was like, "I don't believe you, dude. Do it again." Like, he's like, "I do not believe you." And then Justin executed it as well as I've ever heard him
as well as
sing the phrase.
It's okay.
I was like, geez, like,
dude, Justin, he did the same thing to me, man. He did this. He's like, I remember him, like, talking back in the headphones while I'm in the vocal booth, and he's just like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't feel I don't hear the heart. I don't feel the heart."
That's exactly how he was.
Yeah, he's like,
to
it just.
But it's like if one of your own band members maybe said that to you, it wouldn't permeate the way it does when it's the engineer telling you.
Justin, like, sometimes for me, when I've been in the vocal booth before, sometimes I'm just so concentrated on like making sure I hit all the right notes. Maybe there's just one particular note in that song that I know, like I have to kind of like, where it's like, maybe
it's like, why do I make this so difficult?
A tad bit out of my range. And so then I'm just so like focused in on that I kind of forget to inject the soul into this into my performance
because you're thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
Everyone on a microphone right now, we're all singers. I think we can all agree singing is very hard.
It is, but especially
really, John.
We're all attempting to sing.
We're all attempting.
It's different than being a singer,
but especially
let's be humble here.
when you don't have your instrument in hand.
Sure,
you're stripped of all that.
Yeah.
You're sitting in
guitarist
this booth.
Problems.
And that's all you're supposed to concentrate. It's intimidating.
I kind of like it in a way. I think because I just was comfortable with that particular song. But like, if we had to do like back to back to back to back and song after song after song, I would feel, I don't know what's going on. We're doing one a day.
So what did you do to like inject that soul into the song after Seth? Hey, I don't believe you.
Cough drops and energy drinks.
That
no,
you didn't. There wasn't. You didn't like think of more because I don't know. Because I know we've delved kind of into because you're the lyricist in the band still, right? Or are these lyrics coming from other members of the band at this point?
This particularly is my lyrics, but Misty and I collaborate on other songs that we're writing now that we've written in the past.
So if I remember correctly, you usually write from like personal experiences, right? Or I mean, sometimes
narrative style.
Sometimes you make up.
Yeah, I'll make up things.
It'll be based on because I remember what was it? Computer. Computer was based on a TV show, right? Or am I thinking of a different song?
No, you're right. That was based on Westworld a little bit.
That's
Westworld,
No, that's Unraveling, I thought.
Well, they kind of both were. They were like back to back.
Yeah. So I know sometimes you kind of pull from.
Yeah, just like it was like that song was like kind of the integration of like people and AI. It was just a goofy, weird.
Beware the Robert uprising.
Yeah, ex machina, like uprising thing.
But with Small Talk, though, I mean, you do have a lot of personal lyrics, but I feel like this one definitely.
I think, and John, like when we first started the project, John and I would like text back and forth, especially at first, like we were like in a honeymoon stage, and just like,
you're like, I got this idea and this
say
idea.
A bunch of crazy
you
stuff
mean
to
to say that still doesn't happen?
Oh, it does. It does.
But it was definitely like oxytocin stage. Like we're like, we got this new project. It just was. It was just like kind of wild. But he basically said like, singing's hard, writing is hard, and you got to just be as honest and tell the most compelling, honest story you can. And that's a hard thing to like just tackle like the first day you hear it. I've always loved writing and writing lyrics, and whether I'm good at it or not is kind of beside the point because I just like it. It's something that's fun for me. But I was just more I think prior to that, I was just kind of more interested in like the linguistics of it, the words and the way that like
the way they're pronounced,
the way they went together, and just using interesting words, and the subjects were kind of just subjects to me, and it's just the way that you could describe a subject was more interesting to me than maybe actually what was being said, which is kind of odd. I'll say that to as a critic of myself, but it's just something something that just grabbed me at a young age, and I just kind of went with it, and then kind of John set me on a different path with that, and
because I don't hear that in Small Talk. I don't
Not at
hear.
all. No.
Yeah, I feel
No.
like you really are telling a story that actually happened.
Actually happened, yeah.
Yeah, that
I was gonna
actually
say,
happened to
It did happen.
you.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound
not
like what you were just
pandering.
describing.
Not at all. Yeah. Like kind of was saying with John or about John and what the things he said to me, like it obviously resonated, and I've tried over and over again, I think, to just do that and get better at that and hone those stories and like actually not only write about things that happen to me, but while I'm living my life, like try to be more present about the things that are happening to me and notice maybe the details a little bit better and try to hold on to them in a way that would make my writing better.
So Small Talk for you, was it one of those songs where it just came out and that was it? Or was it something that took you a long time to get
Well,
this all out? Because it's amazing how some of the most iconic songs in the world, you hear the stories and they're just like, yeah, it just fell out.
yeah.
And sometimes it does happen that way, but sometimes it'll take years.
The verses
that song to
the
come
verses
to
I just
life.
wrote in like 2 seconds. Sometimes I'll do that where it's just like like line after line, and maybe I'll come back, cut out a few words, or try to tighten it up or make it fit the structure a little bit. But typically, like this song was just the verses came out, and then we had this other chorus
About the weather.
about the weather and
How the F is the weather?
Yeah.
What was the original?
It was
lyric?
kind of just placeholder lyrics for me. I kind of knew that. I was like,
But it fits with the whole small talk.
It does.
That's where the
theme.
name came
That's
from.
how it
Yeah,
started.
because
Yeah.
weather.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's what the
Yeah.
weather's great today,
Hey.
isn't it? Yeah. It's,
Are you enjoying
It's
this
just like
weather we're having,
John-
Jake, by the way?
John and I, when we first saw each other today, how are you? Oh, I'm great. How are you? Like, we were,
Yeah.
you know.
So yeah, it was kind of a placeholder chorus, and then I honestly don't remember like when the next chorus came. As far as like when I wrote it, most of it goes nowhere, but sometimes every so often I'm like, that's cool, let's do that.
That's it.
Yeah, and then I came to practice and showed these guys the new chorus, and they were like, nah, we like the old chorus, and I'm like, yeah, I know, but I don't think we're gonna keep that chorus. I'm sorry.
So what? How did that battle get determined? Did you put your foot down, or was it like when you brought it to Seth, where you're like, Seth, what do you think?
No, I've done it a few times where I have the structure of a song one way, and then it changes, and I think it's better, and then I kind of just temper it. You know, like I try not to be like forceful about it, but like
Ooh.
let's just try it, let's just try it, let's just try it, and then it feels better and better, and it gets tighter, and then they like their parts, and then it kind of just feels more cohesive. You know.
In this song in particular, there's a very distinct punch that I had to fight these boys for a lot
Yeah.
every time.
And honestly,
Yeah.
it makes the whole song.
It really
did-
does.
yeah,
Oh,
the
but
punch.
they would never tell me that at the time when I'm telling them my idea.
Well, I had
We
to.
did fight around it.
We did fight.
Justin, I hope this doesn't sound bad because I don't mean it in a bad way.
No, of course.
Your vocal performance, I feel like, is so different compared to a lot of the other previous Carrying
Yeah.
Torches. And I don't know if that's something Seth worked on with you or if it was just like for this particular song, but I felt like the words kind of fell out of your mouth more instead of before. I feel like it always kind of sounded more gritty and forceful.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was just something new you were trying with this song.
No,
or...
I mean, I've been kind of working in like that lower range. It's more natural for me. It's easier for me to do longer sets, you know, those types of things. And I think I was in the past writing and singing, I kind of felt like obligated to have to like sing like maybe a higher octave or to just cut through or to fit the genre or whatever. And I just kind of like, you know what, this is the way that I sound natural. And it's for me, it's better. And it's more sustainable. And I just kind of been throwing that into some verses here and there, maybe even some choruses and stuff, and just trying it out. And I wasn't sure what Seth was going to say. I wasn't sure like if it even sounded good, but I was like,
it's just sounded to just from my perspective, you sounded so much more comfortable.
yeah. And
And
that's
it
it.
just sounded-
I am. I mean, in that lower range, I am more comfortable and I
Right.
can move through it a little bit, you know? So
Yeah, because before I could feel like the uncomfortableness, I
Yeah.
feel like a little bit.
Sure.
To where this, it just felt more natural.
yeah.
And it just maybe it was just the way the instrumental was too. It just
Yeah.
kind of all flowed
Yeah.
together. But I kind of felt like it's like, okay, it's like this is Justin.
Yeah.
Like this is
Well,
this
Seth
is
kinda
really
complimented
Justin.
it. Yeah, he complimented it because I was like, I sang it. He's like, let's just do a practice one. Let's just see what it sounds like. You know, I'm sure you remembering
Yes.
your experience.
Yeah,
now.
yes.
and I'm like, okay, so we do a couple practice ones, and then I start kind of playing around with like how I'm singing it, and I started kind of singing like higher in certain spots. And he's like, "Why are you doing that?" I don't know. Like,
again, I would be like, I'd be like, why? Sweat just.
I'm like, I don't know,
pouring
just
down my-
trying it out, you know? And he's like, okay. He's like, why don't you try the other way? That other way, you got like some swagger going on. Well, no one's ever said I've had swagger, so.
Well,
Once
yeah.
he said that, like everything changed, like vocally in the song.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I was sitting in the booth next
It
to
gave me some confidence in that
Yeah.
in that lower register, so I started to feel like, okay, like maybe I can turn this into something a little bit, and then I started to kind of get like real comfortable,
And
and
you're
then,
like,
and
okay.
it sounded cool, you know. And then when I did go up into the higher range, like it was more meaningful to the song, I think, and the verses didn't take away from the choruses and vice versa. And I think the choruses are really, because you go into that what is it, that C sharp major there, and it's just like
I didn't sit down with my guitar
it's
to
just
try to
real, it's just real big in that chorus, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just like.
Well, it's a very big song. The sounds are very big.
That's been our number
Anthem?
one critique. By we've
Anthem.
like submitted it to like different I think it's called Submit Hub. It's like a
Submit Hub.
yeah, it's like a music admissions. Like you can get onto like playlists.
Oh,
and-
okay.
yeah,
I have
and-
heard of
and-
that
And
one.
I did
yeah.
like this whole Hot or Not campaign, and I basically would listen to new songs and then give them a score, and then they would do our song.
For you.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's
it's kind of cool. Yeah,
That
you
is
get, yeah.
cool.
I thought it was really cool. The major critique was like, yeah, wall of sound. Just the dynamics could be a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a cool tune, but I agree. I think we could, moving forward in our writing process, think about those types of things, you know.
So to get kind of nerdy and technical, and I know you guys have probably seen this if you take a song from, like, let's say you take a Beatles song,
Sure.
like the original mastered Beatles song, and let's say you've got an MP3 of it. You take that and you open it up in a recording software. For me, it would be Adobe Audition. So you open it up in your Adobe Audition software and you look at the waveform of that originally mastered Beatles song from the 60s. And then you take something from 2023 and you open up that wave file, let's say like Harry Styles.
Mhm.
Take a Harry Styles song and you open that up in Adobe and you look at the waveform. You're going to see like just straight,
Sound. Yeah.
Wall
just
sound.
straight waves. Like it's
Yeah.
just going to be just this thick band, and you're not going to see like the movement of up and down, kind of like you would think of like is it
heart
an
monitor?
EKG
Yeah.
or like a heart
EKG.
monitor. You know, you see the heart monitor go up and down when
squiggle up and down.
you squiggle up and down. Now that's what you're going to see when you look at that Beatles song from the 60s. You're going to see those variations of when the band is louder and softer. You're going to see that. But the way things are mastered nowadays is much different. It's
Yeah.
usually everything's just
Yeah, as
It's
big as
just
possible.
those
Yeah.
waves are just hot.
Mhm.
Everything's just like you said, a wall of
Yeah.
Do you
of
think the
sound.
reason for that is because the primary way people listen to music is on their phone?
I'm
I
sure
mean,
that's an adaptation for
well,
sure.
there's an age, and I don't think this is made up. I feel like there used to be this war, and it probably this type of war was going on when the Beatles were first coming out, but it used to be like a competition of who can get their songs the loudest.
Mm.
Like you would purpose
That goes on in this building on Thursday nights when all the bands are practicing.
Yeah, like no, it was almost like the band with the louder mastered song was like better, was perceived as like, oh, this recording is better. Like I know when I was an up and coming musician as a kid, I remember there being like, I'd try to get my friends to listen or whatever, and you would like hand them your crappy recording of your
Demo.
band, right?
Demo,
CD,
yeah.
Yeah,
whatever.
and of course it pales in comparison to a major label
Yeah.
production, right, where that master is just on
Yeah.
point. And of course your final mastered mix is a lot lower than theirs.
Mhm.
Let's say you pop that CD in the CD player, they've got to turn up their car
Just to get
stereo
it to the same as what it was
This-
the previous song.
so to get it up to like Rihanna level.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so there was that kind of, I don't know if that's still a thing anymore, but I know at one point it was like people would always try to outdo one another with the loudest.
Well, I do
mastered
think that
song.
when you're an artist, you want the best capture.
Oh,
and
yeah.
trust me, we've gone through the triathlon of all different recording, bedroom to the studio. And the ABG is the loudest,
Mhm.
and it sounds the best.
Oh yeah.
So maybe loudest is the best. I don't know.
It's all personal preference. Everyone has their own opinion on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it depends on the genre you're doing as well,
Mhm.
but others will argue with that on that. Like
Well-
I would love to hear Seth's opinion on that. Now that we're
Yeah, for
talking
sure.
about
Get him
that,
on the podcast.
he would. Yeah, he
Well,
would.
he's not
he would
Kankakee.
he's not Kankakee,
He's not
Connected
but
a lot though.
It's
Look
not
at
well, yeah. I feel like Seth does a good balance on kind of between like keeping dynamics in mind of
Yeah.
going up and down,
Yeah,
but
sure.
also
Definitely.
making sure that
Well, that's
it's not
his- that's us. You know, we're a 5-piece band, and like none of
Yeah.
us stop to take a look around the entire song. You know what I mean? So that's
Yeah.
that's us, not
Right.
him.
if I may,
Yeah.
if I may also, it's like music is the weirdest thing ever. Recording music isn't like capturing fireflies in a jar. You know, it's this invisible thing. A song is an invisible thing. You know, you have it, you have your parts, you play them with your band members. It's like this invisible force. We're all kind of doing the same thing. Your band members are helping you remember the song just like you're helping them. And some songs are just cursed from the start and they can never be captured and never be recorded. It's like it is so
sometimes.
crazy. Or like
But sometimes those lightning in the bottle moments do
Mm.
happen,
Yeah.
though. But they usually don't happen. I mean, sometimes they happen while you're recording, but I feel like those moments usually happen like when you're writing,
Mhm.
you know, and
Mhm.
and all of a sudden, like, let's say John does this fill a little differently than he did like the previous time you ran through the song, and then Justin's like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
like, dude, what was that?
Yeah.
Like, do that every
Yeah.
time."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that,
And then
that
John's
has
like,
happened.
and then John's like, Misty, record me.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
do the video recordings. We
Mhm. Yeah.
come up with
or
those
sometimes you'll just
moments.
be jamming and you'll have something great and you just let it go
Mm-hmm.
and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And that's like the Zen garden approach of it. And you have to have a little bit of that too, because you can't be too attached to everything that comes out of you. It's just the part of the process. Getting
Yeah,
into the
no,
flow state,
you
the
have to
surrender of
have, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Yeah, we have all this amazing technology that literally can make anyone sound like they're, Harry Styles
Mhm.
mentioning again, but you got to have that foundation
Yeah.
if you're going to have any type of longevity, whether it's at a local level or it's at a global level.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
have to have it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I mean, like the previous EPs that we've done, it's been we've basically been at the helm as far as like most of the production ideas. You know what I mean? So this one was just not, and it just was kind of cool to
Do it differently.
have somebody else with expertise, give their opinions, and then us take them and learn from them, and then ultimately implement some of those lessons and takeaways into our writing process now, and hopefully evolve so that the next time his ideas can evolve us further, and just we can kind of keep doing that synergistic approach to this whole thing,
and that's what I love about Carrying Torches is that you guys take your original music very seriously, and then you take the time to be like, yeah, we're going to go to someone like Seth and we're going to pay him this chunk of money.
Yeah.
And some will argue, okay, well, either I don't have that money or I'm not going to pay all that money for that.
Yeah.
But I feel like regardless, it's not about paying all that money so you can necessarily have this huge amount of success and stardom.
No.
That's something, it's a professionally produced song
Yeah.
that you get to have forever.
And that's exactly that's what
Preach.
John and I talked about, and John and Misty, we talked about it. It's like I want to be able to like look back on this whole thing that we're doing and feel good about it, and feel good about the effort that we put in, and make sure we put the effort in the right spots, and it'd be great to have some songs that we've put money into and put time into and spent all this time writing and performing live and then eventually recording, and it'd be wonderful to be able to listen to it after this is gone and just have it, and then it'd be something meaningful to us, and us not have to be like, oh yeah, that mic should have been a little closer to the bass drum, or oh yeah, I wish I would have done this and sang this and sang that. It's just nice
Exactly.
to have something that's just like, oh yeah, this is exactly how we wanted it, and we spent the money and time and effort with somebody who saw that vision and actually perfected it and made it better.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
You can look at it kind of like a tattoo.
sure,
Like,
yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
The tattoo artist got me too. So,
you literally get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And I feel like it doesn't matter if you don't get signed to a major label and just become the next Beatles or whatever.
Yeah, no,
like
that can't be
it's-
that can't be it.
No,
you
it's
can't think like
it's
that.
just to have
You
it's
can't.
it's just to have,
Just to have it.
that professional recording and show it to someone
Yeah.
20 years from now.
Yeah.
And that, since you did get that professional recording, it's going to stand the test of time.
Sure.
And they're going to listen to it. They're going to think, whoa, like,
Yeah.
that's you?
Yeah.
Like,
You did
you're gonna
that?
Be like, yeah, I did. Like, wow, it sounds just like what I hear on the radio.
Right.
Like, it's just worth it.
Well,
It
our
is.
biggest rival is our former self, right? So as long as we're always improving on ourself, then you're winning.
Yeah. Another thing, I just wish more of because there's so many incredible local bands in the Kankakee area. A lot of them that write their own material,
Yeah.
and they perform their own material, but a lot of times they don't take the time to get it professionally captured, and it kills me.
Well, I think
It really does. And like, I really wish, I hope more of them take the time to do that, because I just feel like there's so many benefits to it, because
We had a lot of growing pains getting there, to be honest.
sure, it's hard. It's not easy, but I just feel like it is worth it.
It
And
is.
You're right.
it's-
You're right.
it's worth it.
10 out of
It's worth
10.
it, and
I guess I just keep repeating myself, but I
No,
guess
no,
I,
No,
you're right, and there's more. I mean, we're still looking for the gold of this
Yeah.
conversation. You
Yeah.
know, like you're right. You know, like, and every step that you take hopefully leads you closer to like this place where you're like, we did it. You know, the summit, however you want to look at it. And I think this was a great step for us. You know, it was just an awesome step. So
Yeah,
I
since
don't wanna
working
take it
with
for granted
him,
at all.
our group has been like re-energized and had our sights set on the future. Like, let's not lie, like the past 3 years have been very hard on artists everywhere, you know,
right, with the
you know,
pandemic
I
and
mean,
just
and hard on
everyone in
people.
general. Yeah,
we
right.
could all have that trauma bond.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
it was cool too. Like after we got the song back, it was kind of fun. It's like we had to relearn how to play it and sing it.
Yes,
Like, because there was so many layered.
And that was one of the things he
when
said.
you work with the right producer
Yeah.
and you have to relearn your song, that's when you know you did it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you know, when you
Yeah.
have to relearn your
Yeah.
song, that's when you know. And that sounds weird and it sounds backwards, but I assure
No,
you
it's
that
right.
means you went to the right person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we should play Small Talk since we've been talking so much about it. How do you want to introduce this song? Kind of give the backstory. I mean, you're talking about Chicago in this, and you know that's another great thing about this song is that you
Yeah.
wrote it to where it's so relatable, because literally everyone has paid way too much for this room in
I know.
Chicago.
I know.
Like everyone has done, every single person has
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah.
Whether the room was fantastic or it was
Yeah.
horrible, we've all done it.
Buyer's remorse.
Yeah, I guess I'll give just a quick like one-liner and then we can listen to it
Yeah.
and then we can talk about it after.
Okay.
So basically like every February, my wife and I go up to Chicago for like our anniversary and her birthday. So this
Is her birthday on Valentine's Day or is it just right around?
It's our anniversary is the 11th and I'm getting nervous now.
Now he gets
Our anniversary
Sorry,
is the
Liz.
22nd and our birthday is the 11th. So we just kind of go up. Yeah, it's like Valentine's
yeah.
Day's in there too, and we're just like
my
let's just do
fiance, her
this.
birthday's on Christmas.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I get it.
Her
I
sister's
get it.
birthday's on Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's really
Yeah.
close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Sorry, Liz. I got nervous. I had the butterflies in my chest.
Well,
So anyway, that's the gist of the song and how the song got written, and then that's it.
I'm a lucid, drug-induced dream state. Losing up my bell right quick, Jim Morrison in a public space. Just kidding, but honestly, everyone's staring at their phone. Won't notice me anyway. Notice me anyway. The sun came up through the window. I pay too much for this room in Chicago. I couldn't sleep, so I stared at the city lights. It was pretty
after hearing Small Talk now, so we know the premise of the song is kind of centered around that yearly ritual of celebrating your wife's birthday and your anniversary.
Yeah.
But the song's called Small Talk, though. So is it just kind of like, is it about getting through? Because we've all been on, it doesn't even matter if it's a vacation or it's a date night or whatever.
Yeah.
We've all had those. John and Misty just get into like an argument right before they're going out for a date night. And then so then you go out on the date night and there's this tension and all you're having is this small talk. Is that where it, but then finally you get through it after you have the small talk?
I mean, is that it's kind of like the song's kind of like, if anyone who might be listening that knows me knows, like, I have a great sense of humor. And
you do have a great sense of humor.
At least I think I do.
He does.
It's kind of a sarcastic title, but it also is true. We had an enlightening experience that evening, and we just had all we had was each other to get through it, and we made small talk.
You guys were Joe Roganing up there.
It wasn't quite.
Can you elaborate a little more, or is it too? We
enjoyed ourselves.
Don't be so coy.
We enjoyed ourselves. Happened.
It was
almost prim over here.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I mean, we
that is open to interpretation, which I like.
You can listen to the song.
Just how the song, like, there's so many artists that talk about their songs, and there's some of them that don't even want to actually talk about the meanings behind them.
Yeah.
Because what, small talk means that to you, but like one of your fans is going to listen to it and it's something else completely different for them.
For sure.
Like it's they have a completely different takeaway from it because it speaks to them in a different tone.
Yeah.
Than
like a few comments we've heard about it is like, man, this is just like the perfect road trip song. Like I could hear myself listening to this like in the middle of the summer, kick back with like a friend, and we're just like on a trip. You know?
I feel like the verses are definitely focused on self-improvement. Like almost you are kind of like talking yourself into why you should be gassing yourself up.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Kind of a motivational.
It's like very positive message.
It's positive. Choosing to be like the best version of yourself, despite maybe flaws, right? Despite
society around you.
Or society or how you interpret it, and just constantly trying to improve in a good way and not in a self-deprecating or,
I think you hit the nail on the head with the whole how you interpret society.
Exactly.
Like
because you
that
can
right there.
And you should try to have a charitable outlook on society. I think it's much better that way.
I think a lot of us often forget that whatever we read from a certain media source, it doesn't matter what kind of media it is. This podcast included.
Right.
This is just such a small percentage.
Well, you're doing good work.
World.
You're doing good work, I think, because you're doing good work because you're taking the time to listen to just normal folks and just people who are interesting or people
important
who
to the community.
Are important to the community.
You guys are making me blush.
But like taking time to listen to them more than just like what they would read on a social media forum like a Facebook or whatever. Not
thanks,
to talk.
man. I wasn't looking for compliments, but
no, it is. It's important work. It's important work, and not everyone's doing it, and not everyone's taking the time to do it, and not everyone stops to think about that. So, I mean,
well, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
But just to and it doesn't matter what type of media source it is. It doesn't matter if it's Facebook, CNN, a newspaper, the Daily Journal. That is just whatever they're reporting is a small percentage of the world. It doesn't matter if
it's usually the extremes because that's what.
Well, and it doesn't matter, right? And it doesn't matter if you're just ingesting a good news story, a bad news story,
right.
Whatever it is. It's still
not everything. It's not the norm.
It's not everything. Yeah. It's just a small percentage. So I think we often forget that. Like the world is bigger than a shooting that happened in Chicago,
as much
whatever.
As like you
as bad as that is.
Yeah, you feel compassion and empathy for those things. Yeah, it's like
but we all need to
around in the local.
right.
Try to stay as local as possible mentally and help the people in the community.
Positive positive initiatives
Mhm.
and positive mindsets
Right.
create more positive initiatives and
Exactly.
mindsets. And
Exactly.
so,
Yeah.
not to get
No.
off on that big tangent.
Well, what you nourish yourself
Um,
with digitally,
and I-
it's very important.
yeah, just all around.
And
Mhm.
the other point, like I think to work off of what she said in this, like the second verse talks about like, and my dad listened to the song and he would like called me and he's like, "Hey, are you okay?" Like, and I'm like, and I'm like,
He was probably worried about you and your
Oh,
wife.
for
like,
sure, for sure. He's like,
what?
"Are you okay?"
Do
You
you
know?
guys need to go to counseling?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what's going
Are
on?
you strapped for cash?
Yeah.
You're just spending a lot of money in Chicago.
and and I was like talking to my wife. I'm like, I wonder what he was like referring to. I'm like, and then I'm like,
Yeah,
reading
which
it,
lyric?
and I'm reading it, and like, I'm like, maybe it's like the only thing that seemed like a red flag from a parental standpoint, like they might think their kid like needs help, is like, my dreams are shattered, my life matters.
Yes. Yes.
But like that's more of a humbling than it is like a woe is me. It's more of a like kind of come out of your younger self and less of your ego, less of like those childish dreams that nothing's wrong with them and that they work out great for some people and some they don't, right?
Yeah.
But everyone has them, and I think realizing that despite whatever happens to those, your life is still important, and whatever you're doing right now, you can still do it to the best of your ability. You know, that's kind of more. That's more what that's saying than any kind of like negative connotation. But I could see some people might take it the other way. I hope people don't. But if they do, I hope whatever they're going through, they get through.
One thing I was thinking about as I was getting ready for this recording was I was curious to know what artists from the Kankakee area have inspired all of you guys individually, whether it was a music artist or a band or just a musician or, I mean, it could be any art form really, but specifically music, like who...
Go ahead, John. He's got a
um,
big one.
John's got a good one.
Yeah.
My very good friend Lee Dean, who I grew up with at Central High School, I saw him play a Tarzan song when I was literally in grade school, sitting on a gym floor. And I was like, that dude is so cool. I want to be a drummer. Like 10 out of 10. He's so talented. Definitely has inspired me.
I mean,
throughout my journey.
you and Lee are like the two drummers that are just...
Yeah, he's
And
great.
he's right on the
everywhere.
other side of that wall.
He's-
Believe it or not, he's right on.
mirror image. On
Yeah,
that.
That's awesome. See, I had no idea that Lee was... So Lee's from Clifton too?
He is.
Otto.
See,
Otto, technically, yeah.
okay. But yeah, I didn't know that.
Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, no, I guess to pick some more people who have been in the building and folks actually one in that room. So I talked to you about the break I took with music.
Yes.
Kind of like my mid-20s, I kind of fell off
And
the wagon
became a
little bit.
chef.
Became a chef and went to
Yeah.
culinary school, worked up in Chicago, and then came back down here and just spent most of my time just focusing on that craft and just trying to get
Got
better at it.
married during that time too.
Got married,
right?
yeah. Did all the things that are awesome in my life now. So I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
But at that point, Matt Shipley was playing a lot of open mics, and I knew he was kind of like newish to doing music. I think maybe he had played the guitar for a while, but like doing it in bars and things like that. And it definitely woke me up to that old feeling I had with music, and like, wow, I'd love to just get out and play some more. And just seeing him like being so tenacious about it and just like day after day after day, like, I'm here now.
Mhm.
Come check me
Yeah, the
over at
grind.
OTR. Come see me at the spot. Come see me at a Circle Bar. I think
Yeah,
there was
like,
I think that's the
Circle-
first place. That was
Circle
the
Bar
first place I went
It's
and
just
seen
across
him.
the street.
Yeah,
Or it was across the street. It's now
Yeah.
Rigo's.
Pilgrims played there.
And it was like an
Yeah.
open mic, and I remember coming back, going to see him, and I think that was the first time I had gone and seen local music in like a long time. And then I think afterwards we went to the spot and just talked, and it kind of just reinvigorated my need for or want or whatever for
I
playing
mean,
music
Matt-
and writing.
Matt is just he's just a nice guy.
Yeah, he's
You know,
electric for sure. I mean, he has a
Yeah.
great energy, and he's just like,
Yeah, he's a great guy.
he's just a good songwriter, great songwriter, still doing it, still doing the music thing. And, now they have Circa,
Yes.
which is like a production company. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
they're just, it's great to see that they're still on that path too. And then another person, I don't know if you can have more than one. like,
Oh yeah,
local
absolutely.
local musician.
whoever, like
Um,
in the Kankakee area, man.
I
Throw
was,
it out.
I can never put a timeline because I'm usually not focused on it. I'm just like if something cool happens, I remember it, and that's how my brain functions.
Yeah.
It's kind of messed
You
up.
remember
Yeah, like
maybe
this
some
one
of the
moment, I'm like, oh, and then I don't know how I got there or like what happened after. But
wow, it's 20 years later.
yeah.
What?
But Eric Swanson, I think E3PO was playing at OTR, and they were just set up inside. It wasn't like on the deck where you'd think like all the awesome shows happen. They were just inside, and I didn't really even know Eric. I knew his family because my wife grew up with his family, but I didn't have a personal relationship with them or anything like that. And I just saw them like just playing, and I was like, that is so professional. Like it sounds so good. Like I was like,
they're so
God,
good.
it sounds so good. And I just was in awe. Like there was a great crowd. Like I think it was one of his reunion shows because he kind of goes off and did touring at that time. So he came back
and he
to
still
town.
does. I
Still
think.
does. But yeah, no, seeing them play at that time was just another cool. Like it just little things like that just like make you be proud to be from Kankakee. And be proud.
Well,
from
and
the
he's
area.
a Grammy winner now.
Yeah. He is.
So
Yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Good for him. And I think Matt's actually was doing some work with him.
Matt
too.
does some work for him.
Yeah.
Here and there.
So
Yeah.
both those guys gave me Matt gave me inspiration to get back out there, and then just Eric with the professionalism on stage and just like the sound, and
Yeah.
both great.
For me, full disclaimer, anybody who's out there doing it in any way, I tip my hat to you because it's not always easy. And it's a vulnerability putting yourself out there and being an artist and a performer. And then for me, my story's a little different. I play a niche instrument and I'm a female. So I'm the minority in the game. I remember distinctively there used to be a lady, a pianist. Her name was Palmer Tolley, and she was a piano player, and she would play like the farmers markets and, places where a piano gig was appropriate. But my role models who are active musicians now are Angie Beeson, which is Biso's mom. She plays in a band. She's a great saxophone player and a super cool lady.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah.
And Lee Evan, she's got a band and she does her own thing. Who else am I missing? Lee Evan and Angie. There's a lot of young bloods in the game. The Simpsons, they're out there, and then they have like the Cat's Pajamas, and I think they actually have 2 girls in their band. I do want to get out and catch them, and support the lady. They're everywhere, man.
Yeah,
they're down in Watsika. I thought they were
awesome.
jamming
Yeah.
in this building one day too. So I was like, what?
Probably. Yeah.
Super talented.
Yeah,
And young.
and
just-
nice.
Yeah. Really great
They
musicians.
are hungry.
Yeah.
They got it. They got it going on.
Yeah. I feel like they play the type of genre that almost anyone can enjoy, or if you don't enjoy it, you at least appreciate it just because it's such a mix of different genres.
Yeah.
It's you can't really like
And it's very talented. And
yeah, and I
they're
think
good at,
that's
like,
why
showcasing each other.
Each
If
player,
it's the guitar player's turn to kind of take the song, because they're kind of more like an instrumental
they're more of an instrumental
group.
band.
So
yeah,
but they do a nice job at like circling around the stage to kind of showcase. But they also have great musicianship together. So it's like
yes.
it's just a cool thing to watch.
Yeah.
I caught them at Estival Festival. Was the first time I saw them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen them, I think, at least twice.
Yeah.
I think it was probably both times when I judged the Bourbonnais Friendship Festival Battle of the Bands.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I think was the 2 years that I've done that is when I've seen them. And it's just their talent level. I don't like,
Yeah.
when I'm driving in the car, I don't turn on music like The Simpsons,
Sure. Yeah.
but I really love and appreciate what they do just because it's so good and they're
Yeah.
so into it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say I think anyone,
Yeah.
whether you're a metalhead or you're just give me the Beatles.
Yeah.
I've mentioned Beatles like 4 times. I'm gonna owe them money.
Don't say it again. No, 5 times. Then
It's
and then
funny.
Ringo Starr's after you.
It's funny you keep mentioning the Beatles because when we wrote Small Talk, Misty and I were heavily in a Beatles documentary.
Oh,
And I
get
even
back on
based some of
Disney
the-
Plus.
I
It
think
was
the reason why I
beautiful.
keep saying the Beatles is just because everyone knows the Beatles. So like I don't want to say a
Yeah.
band that people are like, who's that?
Yeah.
It's all the
Um,
psychedelic colors in here, man.
It's, and the cool thing about this building too is like they're like in terms of music, like there's every style of music as you'll hear it as you walk out the door.
Yeah.
It's kind of a beautiful music community.
Yeah.
And right in downtown Kankakee. So
And also, if I may, what also inspires me is like the music of like past band members that we work with, like Brennan and Alex, they're still doing their thing. They're still out there grinding hard.
Yeah.
And that inspires me. And I hope that we inspire them still to keep going. Because, we're all old dogs.
You're not old. You're not old.
We're vets.
Hey, it's cool to be old now. You heard
Is
it here
it?
first.
Cool to be old.
Well, so let's get out. So Small Talk drops all streaming platforms March 1st. And you're having a release show here in Kankakee at one of Kankakee's newest spots, right in downtown, Rock Inn. So
Great
that's going to be
burgers.
March 3rd.
Yeah.
Great burgers. Yeah.
$5
Great
burgers.
burger.
on
Great-
Woo,
great
make it
Mondays.
holla.
On
It's a
Mondays.
On Mondays.
It's a Butterburger. It's $8 any other day, and I think it's worth probably.
It's
the
well worth
$8.
it.
Yeah, it's really
Okay.
good. It's like the quintessential like bar cheeseburger, like
I'm
flat
spo-
top,
Yeah,
thin
it's
patties.
perfect.
Okay, I'm
with
supposed to
brioche
be
bun.
going there, I think, this Sunday for dinner.
Yeah, you gotta try it.
You'll like it.
I'm excited to check out the
Yeah.
hottest new spot
Yeah.
in Kankakee.
Oh.
Anything else to throw out there carrying torches related?
Just we're on all social media: www.carryingtorches.com, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Pick your poison.
We have a flow tree.
We have a flow tree.
What is flow tree? I've never even heard of that.
It's a free version of a link tree.
And
It's a
link
flow
tree is
page.
just like a page where all your links are.
Right, yeah. That's what a link.
Sorry.
I've got a link tree, but I was like, I didn't know flow. I have never heard of flow tree.
Yeah,
so
we do
it's
flow
like the
trees
same
around
thing.
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, get out of here, Jake, with your link tree. Man, you got a flow.
Yeah, flow.
Well, John, Justin, Misty, this has been great.
And you as well, Jake, and
Thanks
your
so much for
assistant,
having us.
Colin.
Yes, give a shout out to our intern, Colin, who's
Colin,
been
we love you.
accepted to ISU into their
Red
media
Birds.
Awesome,
program.
man.
I'm a U of I
So,
girl,
yeah,
but
Good luck, man.
good
Did
for
you go to school there?
I went to U of I.
Yeah, Misty went to U of I.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
John's sister went to U.
My sister went there too, yeah.
ISU.
Okay.
She's a red
But
bird.
yeah,
But yeah, everyone come out to Rock In March 3rd.
March
And
3rd.
keep your
absolutely.
eyes peeled for the music video for Small Talk also.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
yes.
we're also filming a music video for Small Talk. Sorry,
Do you
Jake.
know Alex
no, it's
Zarek?
okay. Yes, Alex Zarek
he's doing our
is the one
video.
who's directing it and producing it.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Alex Zarek is amazing.
Super
so
nice
He's
guy.
in the
It's gonna be
Midwest emo
He's super fun.
crew
yes,
Yeah.
too.
Alex is just.
We have the most fun with him. When we
He
do
also
music
went to
Oh,
videos.
he's
ISU.
so fun
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
around,
He's so
and
fun.
his.
Yeah.
I just love watching his creative mind
Yeah.
work as he's shooting.
Yeah.
Whether it's photography or video, whatever.
Yeah,
You just love watching his mind work.
yeah, for
So-
sure.
Yeah, we're filming this Sunday,
It's Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
yeah.
so it's coming up.
Well, you'll be at the Rock In. Maybe we'll see you
Oh, okay.
afterward for a burger.
Maybe. Yeah, it might be just,
The time will align.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Thanks so
All right.
Well,
much.
thanks so
Yep.
much,
Be
Jake.
Been
good,
fun.
everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks
All
for
right.
the small talk.
Yeah.
Thanks for the small talk, Jake.
Ah.
We love you, buddy.
Now that does it for this episode of Kankakee Podcast. I'm Jake LaMore. Thank you so much for listening. We are proudly presented by Pewter Pros, Stitch Prints, and Digital World Design family of businesses, celebrating 25 years of small business ownership in Kankakee County. You can learn more at mypewterpros.com, stitchprints.com, and digitalworlddesign.com. Also, a special thank you to our patrons for helping make this episode possible, including Don Geisinger, Diana Crowley, Joseph Lamont, Bill Parakis of Meineke Car Care Center, Lori Crayoch, Karen Bishop, SLS Home Inspections, Seth and Mary Berkey, Jake Lee, Jesse Arsenal, Dave Barron, Veronica Featherston, John Sullivan, Sue Hornung, Samantha Rocknowski, Lake Iverson, Travis Garcia, Jane Bostwick, Dawn Harrison, Simon Topless, Scott Wright, Carrie O'Connell, Jamie Race, Joanne Berry, Anthony Vicelli, Eric Olson, Nolan Bukowski, Natalie Flagel, Carl Earps, Jeff and Rosa Carroll, Teague Dreenan, Sandy and Steve Twait, and Rose Lucky. To become a podcast patron, go to KankakeePodcast.com, then click on the Patron tab. If you pledge $5 or more per month, you'll also hear your name announced on an episode of the podcast. There's also access to extended versions of episodes and much more. Our theme song was written and performed by Lupe Carroll and recorded by Daniel Bishop.